Here's tools that you're gonna need if you're just starting out with a vehicle. I had this requested from a subscriber about what to get for him to maintain his new Astro. He just got new to him, and congrats on him getting an Astro. So I'm gonna recommend a jack like this from Harbor Freight, one of these Daytonas. They're really good. Get you one of them. Good set of jack stands. These are gear wrench. I think they were around like 40 bucks for the set or so off the Home Depot website. They're 3-ton rated, and I recommend these also because they got the safety thing in there. If you're gonna lift your Astro and get the 2-inch body spacers or 3-inch, you're gonna need this what they call a high lift jack. There's other videos on YouTube showing how to install those. So check that out if you're gonna lift it. This is the Craftsman set I started out with. I've had this about 5 years, and I really can't say enough good things about this set. It's a 51 piece. I thought it had more pieces, but this will get you going. It comes with 6 to 21 millimeters of shallow sockets on this rail here. And these are standard. Not as much standard, but there is some. Then you got your deeps, 10 to 17 deep, and then 7/16 to 3/4 deep. 3/8 drive comes with your ratchet. Then you get your 3/8 extension. Really good set. And it's Craftsman, so it's lifetime warranty. You just take your anything broken to Lowe's, and they'll trade in, no questions asked, just like Sears used to. This is a good gear wrench set. This is about 100 bucks. Can't remember if I got off of Amazon or Home Depot. But the deep sizes go from 9mm 1/2-inch drive up to 30. It skips from 28 and 29 are not there, so keep that in mind. Same thing is mirrored for your shallows, 9mm to 30. This gives 28 and 29. I think everything else is there. It's a good set. I really like this set. And this medium depth socket set from Matco, I really love it too. Cause it's in between. It's semi deep, so it's in between the shallows and the deeps. And these are 3/8 inch drive, and they'll get into a lot of tight spots that you can't get into otherwise with other size sockets. This is a good all-around multimeter, the 504 meter it's called. We had to have these in college, but you can get something like a Fluke. If you're going to do anything serious on diagnosing circuits, you're going to need one of these. I'll have to make some content coming up on explaining how to use it in just basic terms to help people. So stay tuned for that kind of stuff. This is going to be the X-Fasten wire loom type tape. This stuff's really good compared to getting regular electrical tape because it's kind of like hockey tape, and it doesn't just like get all gooey and melt in the heat. This stuff is really, really good. I highly recommend it. Just don't even get the regular electrical tape for electrical repair. Get this stuff. Trust me, this is the way to go. Get you like a good 8mm. We can get like below that, probably like 6mm to like 36. Try to get nothing with no skips in it, and try to get doubles of those wrenches, because sometimes there's things that have a wrench, or you're gonna need 2 wrenches, sorry, because one of the nuts will be a stationary nut, and you'll need something of the same exact size to hold one stationary to turn the other one. You don't want to do it with pliers. You're gonna booger up all your fasteners. Also, this is good. Something like this. This comes from Lyle. Swivel gripper, it's called. This is the one that's gonna fit your Astro van oil filters. I also use these. I know I made a short about these, but since this guy, I'm trying to go through everything I can think of to get him, squared away. You know what I mean? Some oxygen sensor sockets. My trick to oxygen sensors, honestly, if you're going to be doing an oxygen sensor, what I do is if I know that oxygen sensor is cooked, it's no good. And I had the new one, and I make sure it's good. You make sure it's OEM. If there's no option for OEM, try to get the best aftermarket one you can, because those things can end up making the computer just throw a code and it won't. It's like you didn't even put in a new part. You're just wasting your time and money. So get yourself something that's OEM. Anyway, what I do is I just take some cutters and I'll cut the wires right off and put a regular socket that fits as tight as possible and crank it off. And being here in Colorado, we don't have to heat it up with a torch like we did in New York in the Rust Belt. So you guys in the Rust Belt, you're going to need oxyacetylene to heat that thing up and break it free without stripping stuff and breaking stuff. But ask me how I know. All right, moving on. This is from Astro Tools. This socket or this ratchet. I really like this stuff. I think it's a lifetime warranty. And I have some sockets of theirs too. This stuff's pretty affordable. It's not bad at all. You can get yourself some of that. And this is just some cheap ratchet I had. I think it's like Harbor Freight or something. And don't feel bad if you have to get some Harbor Freight stuff. I have some Harbor Freight stuff. I think it's mostly in that toolbox over here. But yeah. So these are like my higher end wrenches. If you get into this stuff enough, and it's worth buying it, you know. If you don't use it enough and you're just gonna throw in the towel and you don't want to work on your stuff, then I really don't know why you're watching this video then. But see, these are wrenches, just Craftsman, all kinds of stuff, Sonex, and the bigger wrenches, and just wrenches that aren't like Matco or Snap-on or anything, like, you know, the premium grade stuff. These all work just fine though, for most uses. I don't run a real shop here. I'm just a YouTube channel, so I'm just trying to help spread the information for people. Oh yeah, if you gotta do anything with taking off your steering knuckles and everything, you're gonna need is like a 36mm axle nut sockets. Get you some of these. These are impact grade, because you could tell because they're black. It's not just if they're black, but for the most part, you can usually just tell just from that alone. Get you some Allen keys. These they're from Proto. I got them from like the Zorro site. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Just a disclaimer. I put it on every video. Like, I'm not here trying to be a shill and make you buy stuff so I make money off it. I'm not paid by anybody. These are better screwdrivers. You don't have to buy Snap-on. If you've got a lot of other stuff already and it's time to upgrade, that's where I say you'd buy that kind of stuff. Starting out, I probably wouldn't recommend it. This, I can't say enough good things about. This is from Amazon. I made a short on it. It's 24 tooth, 1/2-inch drive, Proto. I think it's like a 16-inch handle, if I remember right. And this thing, you can bust off lug nuts with it. It's a tank. It's about $60-ish on Amazon. Okay. This is a good one. I have some Duralast ones. All the ones that are 1/2-inch drive, I haven't actually broken any of them, honestly. This thing I didn't do such a good review on a short. The reverse pawl popped off and it's not even a year old, and I didn't do anything like busting off lug nuts or anything. Just basic stuff like brakes and suspension work. Not really impressed with that ratchet at all, especially how much I paid for it. That thing's, it's not living up to the hype to me. So get you some hammers. This hammer is nice. They used to have these at Lowe's. I didn't see them. I got this one on Amazon. They're made in USA. I'm not sure if it's lifetime warranty, but this thing's a tank anyway. I can't remember what I paid, 20, 30 bucks ish, something like that. Okay. If you're doing stuff like your spark plugs, you're gonna need some of this for the ceramic parts on it. There's a lot of good videos on YouTube of how to install spark plugs correctly. Check them out and research your stuff instead of just jumping in blindly and making more trouble for yourself. Get all kinds of screwdrivers. These are the stubby kind. Get you something like that. Some of those in the mix. You can't have enough screwdrivers. Sometimes you use them as pry bars. Speaking of which, here's a pry bar. This one's kind of dirty, but you know, the Wild Company's really good. They're made in USA. I think they're the same thing as the Hyper Tough one. They're just rebranded. You can get yourself some of them. A lot to cover here, so bear with me and chime in the comments if there's something you have a question or something you want to see more of. Okay, here we go. Socket rails. This is a really nice set from Astro Tools. Let me get it, see if I can get it in frame. Not the whole thing in frame, but so you guys get an idea. So this goes up to 24. They're 3/8 drive. They're super shallows is what they're called from Astro Tools. So they're supposed to be a little bit shorter than your regular shallow sockets. I think, yeah, these are impact grade too. And this is from Carlisle. This is awesome. It's metric. I believe it's 10 millimeter to 19 millimeter, all on a rail. Comes with the rail from Carlisle. You don't have to get Carlisle, maybe Gear Wrench, Craftsman. But these are called impact swivel sockets. So sometimes there's components that are hard to get to with a regular socket, and these are going to save the day. And the main thing is when you're using these sockets, make sure they bite in as much as possible. Like bottom them out as much as you can on the bolts, so you're not rounding anything off. All right, moving on. This is another Astro Tools set. It's the impact grade of 1/4 inch impact sockets. So 1/4 inch, I'll show you the ratchet difference. All right, here's a 1/4 inch with the socket from that rail on it. And this is a 10 millimeter. Okay. You always need the 10 millimeter, right? So this stuff's a little skinnier than your 3/8. For delicate component stuff that doesn't need as much torque as your 3/8. So here's a comparison. Here's a 3/8 drive in the black, and here's your 1/4 inch with a Torx bit. Oh yeah, let's get into that too. It's just a Torx bit set, very important. It's got Torx and it's got the hex head, which is like a Allen key hooked onto a socket for your ratchet, basically. And then inverted Torx right here. So get yourself something like this. This came from Advance Auto. I bought it like 5 years ago. The Tech Correct. So that's the brand name from Advance Auto. I really like this set. I'm not sure if it's a lifetime warranty. It possibly could be. Okay, moving on. You get yourself a set of ramps. These are like the Harbor Freight or the Rhino ramps. I have both. That's it right there too. So these are real important for changing your oil. And then I'm going to show you how to chock your wheels if you're doing that. Alright, so that's an example of your wheel chocked. And you're going to try to do this on a flat level ground ideally. And if it's not really flat level ground, you're going to want to do the chocking on the other wheels as well. Some of the cons and downsides of those ramps on like slippery kind of concrete like this, if you're trying to drive up on it, those ramps can slip. So sometimes you're just going to use a jack and like your jack stands, and then you can lift up your tires enough to put the ramps under too if it's having trouble slipping, or just use a jack and jack stands. The main thing is always use your jack and jacks with the jack stands. Get it like anchored into nice, like the right places, like on a frame member, not on the oil pan. and it's kind of like a teeter-totter. You're not going to want to put it up on something and then it's on level and it'll slip and like fall or break stuff or kill you. And if it happens, it ain't my fault. I didn't tell you to do that. You know, I ain't here to tell you to do stupid stuff. All right. A little bit more advanced tool usage. This is a 1/2-inch drive impacts. This thing's about 5 years old, so they have newer models out now. The model numbers here. So I'm really impressed with it. To take off lug nuts, pretty much do anything that's suspension work, you name it. Anything that's like higher, like larger size bolts that hold a lot of weight under them and stuff. Your leaf springs, suspension, you know, that kind of thing. This is the go-to. It's got 3 settings. And when you tighten stuff, I usually put on 2, and then I'll set the tires back on the ground, and then I'll torque them to spec for the lug nuts. And if you want to see a video of me doing that in action, there's my brakes video. The beginning, it shows me taking the tires off. At the end, it shows me putting the lug nuts back on, taking your time, putting them on by hand, and then not just impacting it without lining it up by hand first, because you can strip all your stuff and break stuff, ruin your day. Okay, and it's got some. Here's an example of a bigger pry bar. That came with that set for like $100. Been wanting to get couple bigger ones, but it's gotta take some time to work it in the budget. So here's this is a tool bag from Walmart too. This is like 20 something bucks. I got it like 5 years ago. The price might be higher now. You got brass hammer. It came from Harbor Freight. You get some of that stuff like that on Amazon. Oh, big thing, your blue Loctite. Get yourself some of this stuff. You're gonna want to use it on things like your brake caliper bolts, like that mount, stuff like that, and then you crank them down and nice and snug, and then they won't back out. I use them on the oil pan gasket, like the bolts. Just put enough on there, and then torque it like you're supposed to. It'll keep this stuff from vibrating out. You know, stuff you don't want to be vibrating out. That's what you're going to use it on. This thing is a couple years old, but this is the 3/8-inch drive impact. It says it right here. So, you gotta hook your battery to it. This is the stuff doesn't have as much torque as your other things. I think this thing's a piece of junk. What the heck? Alright, so just noticed something. I don't know what. It looks like the pin popped out or something. I'll have to fix that or something. Because this is a locking extension from Gear Wrench. I guess it just failed right in front of me. I don't know what that's all about. So, maybe get yourself a different brand than Gear Wrench. I have barely even had these a few months and they just broke. So, not impressed. So, yeah, something like this is great for the tool here. I got some videos of me doing like the engine pulleys, like water pump pulleys on the van. I use this to tighten it down. It's nice because that if you're trying to do it with a ratchet, this thing's gonna without this thing, it's gonna keep spinning and at the same time, unless you have something like this or something to hold the pulley stationary while you turn it with a ratchet and extension and all that. So I recommend something like these. I have a bunch of DeWalt tools, some Milwaukee, but mostly like 95% of it's DeWalt. And last but not least, if you have the room for it, try to get yourself some toolboxes. I get a lot of mine from Marketplace, Facebook, you know. They don't have to be new to be nice. Like that Snap-on one was not bad. I paid $300 for it with tools in it. I just had to go drive quite a ways to get it, but sometimes the deals are there, you know. That Blue Point one, $80. That's going for a lot more new, and it's in really nice shape. You know, sometimes people are moving and they can't have this stuff. That red one I got for about $100, like 5 years ago. It's Mac. It's whatever. I'll get that gray paint off there. That I don't know what that's all about. It can save you a lot of money. The money you save, you can put it towards more tools, and then having a workspace. And then if you're around sketchy people that you don't trust around your tools, you can lock your stuff up too. Lock your toolboxes. You know, just some ideas for you guys. Okay. So, made it this far, like, share, comment, subscribe, you know. Stay tuned for some more videos coming up. I'm going to be doing the spider injector intake manifold, all the stuff in there while I'm there. I'm going to get it all done. So stay tuned for that. Alright. Take care. Till next time.